What are the things that you see in your baby that remind you of yourself? Is it something like, let's say it could be features right now because she's...
Latto carried that baby for 9 months and the little girl came out looking exactly like her daddy. That's the situation. And apparently, everyone around Latto has been very eager to point that out, which, understandably, is not going over so well. Sitting down with R&B legend Monica on Essence Magazine's Yes Girl podcast, Latto opened up about being a first-time mom, postpartum life, and the question everybody with eyes has apparently already answered. Who does her baby girl take after? The answer, according to the unanimous verdict of friends, family, and the entire internet, is 21 Savage. And Latto has thoughts about that. She didn't hesitate to confirm it herself. Yes, the baby does look like him, but she also made sure everyone understood the full picture. The girl did inherit her mother's dimple and her curly hair, so Latto isn't completely shut out of the gene pool conversation.
Like her daddy, so that just be pissing me off, because I'm the one carried her, so.
Still, those two features are doing a lot of heavy lifting against what sounds like a pretty decisive resemblance to dad. Everybody says she looks like her daddy and that just be pissing me off, because I'm the one that carried her, she said with the kind of energy that makes it clear she's half joking and half genuinely annoyed. She laughed while saying she's had little success arguing her side of the family's case, which, honestly, is a mood every mother who has given birth to a baby that looks nothing like them can relate to completely. What makes this particularly layered is that this interview came less than 2 months after Latto first introduced the world to her daughter. Back in late May, just hours after dropping her Big Mama album, she gave fans a first look at her baby girl in an Instagram carousel, and the response was immediate. Standing on a green lawn in a flowing, semi-sheer white gown, she cradled her daughter, who was dressed in a voluminous baby pink frilly dress and matching bonnet, next to a glossy pink vintage-inspired stroller. It was a full photo shoot, a statement, a moment, and the comment section turned into a collective meltdown of heart emojis. She had actually foreshadowed all of this on the album itself. On the track Mama, she raps, "Now you look just like your daddy, but you got my curls. Can't believe my life right now. I feel on top of the world. Should have seen my face when they told me it's a baby girl." So even before the interview aired, the lyrics had already told the story. The podcast just gave her a chance to say it out loud with a little more exasperation behind it. Now, the baby resemblance commentary is funny on the surface, but it opens up a much more interesting conversation about personality, specifically who this little girl is going to become. Latto said her daughter might not be able to talk yet, but she definitely tries, and when she does, she seems like she's already attempting to talk back, which, given both of her parents' reputations for not backing down from much of anything, should surprise absolutely no one. Latto's father had already weighed in on this with a prediction that is aging rather quickly. "Dang, I really wanted you to have a boy, but it makes sense 'cause she's going to be your karma," he told her. "And if that's the case, just pray for me 'cause I wasn't the easiest out of the two," Latto added. That's the kind of self-awareness that only comes with real personal accountability, and it landed perfectly. But the tension between who Latto used to be and who she's actively becoming right now is the most compelling thread running through this entire era. She admitted that the biggest thing that caught her off guard about motherhood wasn't the sleepless nights or the logistical chaos of having a newborn. It was not wanting to leave at all. That might sound simple, but for someone with Latto's professional drive, it's actually a significant confession. "I feel like I don't want to leave the house no more," she said, then immediately caught herself. "I'm such an ambitious person, so these things are contradicting right now. I want to work and work on my album and do all of the things, but I do want to be home with my baby girl too." That internal conflict is worth paying attention to because she had literally predicted it. In a pregnancy journey video she posted in May, she said, "I'm never gonna leave when my baby get here. I need $1 million a show because I don't want to leave the house." She said it as a half joke.
It's a boy! It's the NBA!
At 37 weeks pregnant, and now she's living inside it in real time. The fact that she saw it coming and it still hit this hard says something about how deeply her priorities have already shifted. And, in her Essence cover interview, she revealed she had actually been praying for a new motivation in life before she even got pregnant. It unlocks a different version of yourself almost immediately. It's kind of crazy, she said. That framing of the baby as an answered prayer.
Young.
Everybody say she look like her daddy, so that just be pissing me off. Cause I'm the one carried her, so, and that's my little girl.
Rather than simply a life event, gives the whole Big Mama era a spiritual weight that goes beyond the usual new mom narrative. She wasn't just becoming a mother. She was actively seeking transformation, and motherhood arrived as the answer. What's also worth noting is how Latto handled the postpartum period with a level of transparency that's still rare for women at her level of celebrity. Sitting with Monica, she was candid about the physical and emotional shifts, clarifying that she wouldn't label what she went through as postpartum depression, but being clear that the day-to-day reality is a real adjustment. Every day is different. You see people tell their stories, but you don't really know what to expect for real. I'm just taking it day by day, she said. That's honest in a way that a lot of public figures avoid because they don't want to complicate the glowing new mom image. She also talked openly about breastfeeding struggles, specifically the inconsistency of milk supply and the guilt that comes with it. Some days I'm pushing 4 ounces, some days I'm pushing barely an ounce. Like the mom guilt comes with that. 'Cause I'm like,
I'm ghetto, auntie. I'm new to mom. I pop my oldest shit. I keep shitting on.
dang, I'm not providing what my baby needs. And then I just be feeling like a failure, she admitted. That level of detail isn't something most artists, especially those known for a certain level of toughness and bravado, typically share. It reframes her completely, and that reframing feels very intentional. Her support system has been a key factor in getting through it. She credited 21 Savage and both of the baby's grandmothers for showing up and creating what she described as a village around her and the baby. That's a notable detail when you consider how much of her relationship with 21 Savage played out quietly and under speculation for so long. The confirmation of his active, present role as a co-parent is something fans have been watching for closely. She also credited Sexy Red as the person who gave her the best advice going into motherhood, which is, honestly, one of the more unexpectedly sweet details to come out of this interview cycle. Sexy Red, as a maternal figure of wisdom, is not a sentence anyone had on their bingo card, but here we are. The fact that Latto highlighted her specifically suggests that conversation was more meaningful than just a casual exchange between peers. On the public reaction side, this interview landed exactly the way her team probably hoped it would. When Latto first dropped the baby photos in May, fans flooded the comments calling her a natural girl mom, saying they always knew that energy was in her and expressing a kind of vicarious joy over seeing her in this new chapter. The Monica interview reinforced that warmth while adding dimension. Now people aren't just seeing the aesthetically gorgeous new mom photos. They're hearing Latto talk about the messy, emotional, contradictory reality behind them. What's also been significant is how deliberately she's kept her daughter shielded from direct public exposure. The baby photos showed glimpses but not full identification. The podcast gave descriptions but not names. That's a very specific, conscious kind of privacy in an era where celebrity parents often use their newborns as content almost immediately. Latto's approach reads as protective in a way that feels real, not performative. There's also a broader industry conversation happening around this moment. Latto wrote and recorded the entire Big Mama album while pregnant and completely sober, going without the coping mechanisms she'd previously relied on and tapping into something rawer and more direct. That's not just a personal achievement, it's a creative statement. The album exists as proof that her instincts as an artist sharpened rather than softened when her circumstances changed. She even dropped bars, referencing, increferencing Miss Rachel, the kids' TV educator, on tracks that also contain her signature unapologetic energy. That blend, the unfiltered FMC sharing space with the new mother figuring out breastfeeding schedules, is actually compelling music-making territory, and critics took notice. What's potentially significant for her long-term trajectory is how she's navigating the ambition versus presence tension in real time and out loud. She had previously described Big Mama as her retirement album, which at the time read like a dramatic statement from someone clearly not done creating. But now, with a daughter at home and that pull toward domesticity hitting harder than expected, the retirement language takes on a different texture. It's less about walking away from music and more about refusing to sacrifice motherhood at the altar of industry pressure. She's also preparing to perform at Essence Fest, which means the private nest-building version of Latto and the stage-ready performer are about to have to coexist in a very public way. That's going to be an interesting thing to watch, how she transitions from the intimacy she's built around this postpartum chapter back into the spectacle of live performance, especially for an audience that has been so invested in this particular season of her life. What this Essence interview ultimately accomplished is something that's hard to manufacture. It made Latto feel completely human at a moment when she could have very easily leaned into polish and curation. She talked about being annoyed that her baby looks like her boyfriend. She talked about feeling like a failure over her milk supply. She talked about not wanting to leave the house and not quite knowing how to reconcile that with who she has always been. None of that is a publicist's script. That's just a 27-year-old woman who happens to be famous, figuring out motherhood with full transparency. The dimple and the curly hair might be all Latto got in the jeans department this round. But the feistiness, the ambition, the tendency to talk back before the full sentence is even out, that apparently is already very much present in this little girl. And based on the interview, the dimple and the curly hair might be all Latto got in the jeans department this round. But the feistiness, the ambition, the tendency to talk back before the full sentence is even out, that apparently is already very much present in this little girl. And based on the interview, Latto is equal parts proud and mildly terrified about it, which might be the most relatable she's ever sounded.